selected maximum number of spots 2, but it's still showing 3 grids. That's stupid. Well, whatever. That's better than nothing.
Absolutely. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Better now.
Better now? Were you not okay?
Well, yeah, trying to get in here.
I'm not being able to get into the stream.
I was like, it's not working.
So, I know you said that you have like 32 books. Do you have a specific one that you're trying to market at the moment?
So the one that just came out is called The Grump from Pahrump. It is a kind of a small town romance about my hometown, actually. So we kind of did something a little different with this one too, because this is our first closed door romance, where normally we're pretty spicy in our stories. Mm-hmm. So this one was kind of a departure from that, because I wanted to be able to market it pretty heavily to people in my hometown. And I've also got I work with a lot of young adults as well. So I wanted them to be able to enjoy one of my books instead of cringing, thinking about them reading it, so.
Yeah, that's one thing that I have trouble with, because when I read, I will read spice in a book. I enjoy that. But when I think about writing, and I'm like, my grandma might read this.
Yep.
My aunts and uncles, my mom, and my daughter, I'm like, no, I'm not going to write any spice.
What's always so surprising to me, too, is the people that get really excited when they find out that the books are spicy. Especially like if I'm around town and I'll run into somebody, from my past or from, high school or something, and they'll ask about the books, and I'll say, yeah, well, they're kind of spicy, and then they get really excited, so most of the time they're excited, is the excited response rather than, the cringe. I get the cringe sometimes, but
yeah,
for the most part, it's pretty good.
Okay. I had that list of questions that I sent you pulled up a second ago, and then I got to doing other things. Where did it go? There it is. So, so you talked about the book that you're currently trying to market, but actually, what is it about?
So it is about a 22-year-old. He lives in Portland, Oregon. He's kind of uptight, kind of stuck up a little bit, and comes down to visit his grandmother in Pahrump, Nevada, which is a small town about an hour and a half north, kind of western of Las Vegas. And while he's out here, he gets a DUI. And so the story begins with him coming back down for court and sentencing for that DUI, and he ends up getting sentenced to a year in probation and house arrest, and now has to stay in Pahrump for the year. And it's kind of his experience, the culture shock of kind of a small western town from, the Portland, Oregon that he's used to.
It sounds like Cars.
Does it?
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a fun book. It's enemies to lovers. It's definitely a comedy for sure. But it's got a lot of heart too, and it's a lot of fun. I may be biased, but I think it's a lot of fun.
I mean, we all think that our books are the greatest, right?
Right, absolutely. We have to be our biggest cheerleaders,
I watched your the little clip that you had on your videos where you were on the news. That was really cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was a while ago.
You made it big.
Yeah. I'll be on the news again on Monday for the new book. Yeah.
Nice.
Because we're doing a big release party here locally that we've been advertising. So that's next Sunday. And so I'll be on the news. They want to interview me about the book and promote the release party. So that'll be fun too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I know in that in there you said that it was a smallish town.
Yeah.
Are the people there excited that, or have you talked to many people from your town that you're off there
Yeah.
partying?
There's a lot of people that are definitely excited, and then there's a lot of people that definitely are not. So anytime you are, introducing anything that's not, I don't even know how to say it. So we're a very small Republican town. We've got a really good kind of, counterculture here as well. And, the LGBTQ community here is growing, especially with, lots of people leaving Las Vegas and wanting to, look for something a little quieter. So it's definitely a lot better than it was years ago. But I definitely get the colorful Facebook comments, underneath the ads and the, promoting the event and the book. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of mixed feelings, I guess.
Yeah, I can see that. I'll just hop into the general questions about you.
Okay.
What's your favorite book or books and why?
That's really tough.
Yeah.
My kind of one that always comes to me when somebody asks that is the Hitman's Guide series by Alice Winters. Those books are just absolutely hysterical. I also absolutely adore Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. That's one of my favorite ones as well. Yeah, I would say probably those. And they're so different too, but probably those.
Every time I ask that question, I always get the answer of a book that I've not read.
Really? Well, you should. They're really good.
Yeah. And when did you realize that you wanted to be a writer? Were you like a kid, or was it recent, or?
Definitely when I was a kid. And growing up in school, I always loved creative writing and always wrote short stories and things like that. And yeah, definitely for most of my life.
That's good. Yeah. Growing up, I always thought that to be an author, you had to be like this super smart person, and like you had to be, it was going to take years and years and years to write a book, and I should just never try to do that. And I mean, I wasn't all the way wrong, but
Yeah, they
I didn't start
definitely.
writing until I was, I think, 29.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't even look like you're 29 now.
I'm 36.
Oh, wow. Well, you look fantastic, for sure. Yeah, same. I had a very similar experience, especially like as a teenager, because when you're in school and your teachers ask you, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you say, a writer, there's always it kind of gets lumped in with movie star and singer, yeah, things like that. And so they kind of make it this air of like, oh, you have to, it's super special and you have to like break into, and it's really not.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to have a pretty good grasp on the language that you're writing in,
Sure. Yes.
But other than that, and imagination's pretty much about it, right?
Absolutely. Yep. That is it.
Do you get writer's block a lot, and how do you handle it?
I do get writer's block sometimes. It's hard to get writer's block on the schedule that we're on. So what my writing partner Stephanie and I decided to do this year was we were going to write, we were each going to write 5,000 words a week and publish a title every month throughout 2024. And so that's what we've managed to do. And so I haven't had a whole lot of experience with writer's block this year because it's been so go, go, go. So I think that what helps for me is we have multiple projects going at once to be able to handle that, release schedule. So if I'm having a hard time working on the title that I'm working on, and I'm stuck on a scene or anything like that, I will put it down and I'll go jump on another book I'll go jump on December's book or the next project and outline it a little bit and just try to make sure that I can keep my, productivity up even when I kind of have those moments of not knowing what's next.
Yeah, I think one reason why I actually have not published a novel yet. I have a book that is, it's more of a notebook for writers to help figure out your plot and stuff. But I have not published a novel yet because when I get stuck, I move to another book. I'm like, I think I have squirrel brain. So yeah. I'm like, I'm starting to get stuck on this one book, and then I get an idea for another one, and I go and I start writing that one for a while, and so I have 3 going at the moment, and I'm about halfway done with one of them, only a couple of chapters into another one.
Yeah, it can definitely quickly get out of hand too, for sure, but fortunately, Stephanie is very good at reining me in. So
that's good. I was wondering like how it works writing with someone else. Like, do you write a chapter and that person writes a chapter, or like how does that work?
So that's actually something that we really want to do. It's something that we've talked about doing, where we kind of round robin a book. But as it is right now, we both have our respective projects that we work on. We work on pretty much everything together. We have 3 meetings a week via Zoom because I'm in Nevada and Stephanie is in Florida. So we plot together, we kind of outline together, we character develop together, and then we do check-ins throughout the week. So I will write a chapter and she'll go through and read it. She'll write a chapter of what she's working on. I'll go through and read it. And then on Monday nights, we sit down and discuss, okay, I loved this, this, and this, but this is going to have to go if you're going to try to pull this plot point in later, and vice versa. So we pretty much scrub each other's work from start to finish as we're creating it.
That's great. So you have like a built-in editor.
Yes. And it also helps that she is an editor, and she has a lot of, background in writing and editing and content creation. So
do you actually hire an editor, or you two just write those and then you publish them?
We do it all. Yep. Okay. We write the books, we make the covers, we do all of the marketing, all of the promotion, and I book all of our live events and signings. We do everything.
That's awesome.
Yep. It's exhausting, but awesome.
Yeah. I have linked Chance's Amazon link. So if anybody's looking for the books, head over to YouTube. I don't know how to do it here.
Me either.
But it's in the description on the YouTube. So the links for the one that you sent me.
Awesome. Yeah, those will take you to our male books. We also write female under a different pen name, and then young adult under a different pen name, and then we have straight romance under a different pen name too.
Oh, wow.
So we're kind of all over the place.
I just want to get one book written. There's goals.
Yeah, we decided that we wanted to, because our most popular and where we have all of our number ones is in the Chance Christopher and Bella Liddell, which is our male franchise. That's kind of what started everything back in 2015, and since then we have written a young adult male under our real names, And then the female, we have 2 out under Katie B. Pemberley is our sapphic pen name, and then Ember Larkin is our heterosexual romance. And we've got 1 out. It's about a figure skater.
Okay, cool. So your genre is more like it's not fantasy, like it all takes place in this world, and
Yeah.
yeah.
More like urban romance, small town romance. We've got a couple of like more thrillers. We've got one real dark romance that came out this year, and yeah, we're just kind of all over the place. You know, we write so much that it gives us the opportunity to really be able to explore the different, you know, kind of tropes and genres and things like that, and figure out what we like to write, figure out what our fans want to read, you know. And so what do you generally, what genre would you say the book you're working on is?
Which one?
Any of them.
They're all fantasy because I have this thing where if something in my book happens, it's correct because I say so.
Absolutely.
Because it's my world. I made it up, and that's the way it is because I said so. If I write in this world and I get something wrong, somebody's going to be like, "Nah."
Yep.
Yeah. I just like fantasy, so because everything's correct because I said so.
Yes. I've never written fantasy. It's something that I really want to try to do, but it makes me very nervous because of the world building and, you know, just making sure that the continuity is there. Yes. See? Exactly. I need to get one of those. Yes.
Well, since I got it, I'll tell you about it a little bit.
Please, yes.
So when I was writing, I looked up a ton of, YouTube videos and stuff on the different story structures, like Save the Cat, Hero's Journey, all that stuff. Some of that stuff just seemed, it was either redundant, like they repeated themselves on a few things. It's like that plot point sounds exactly like this plot point, or just not needed, or I didn't really understand it. So I pretty much just made my own with them as like a guide. And then I figured I'd write it out. And then I was like, you know what? Well, if I'm going to do this, I might as well sell it.
Absolutely.
So I made this. I made like a place for the main character profile. You can write everything about your characters. And then there's also like secondary characters and their profiles for the antagonists. Tons and tons of that. And then it gets into world building too, where you can if your story has magic, you can write up how the magic works.
I need like 7 of those, please.
I have them in all different colors too. I've got all of these. I don't know if you can't see that one. There's this one. It's like purple, and I made this
that's
gray
cool.
one, and then there's a gray one. Just for whatever you like. But it's got stuff how to make your government, like if it's a fantasy world, how the government works. But then it also gets into the story structure, and I broke it into 3 acts. Tells you what should happen in the beginning, and then like if you throw a wrench in the mix, there's a turning point. And then there's a place to fill it out. It asks questions to kind of help guide you, but you can write whatever you want because I have like a blank page for you to summarize what should happen in that story structure.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So it took me a while.
I bet. I was just about to say, like, what a piece of work for sure.
To come up with
yeah.
Figure it out.
That's incredible.
Are they all the same, or all the different colors, different types? No, the inside is exactly the same. They just all have different covers. And
I love the green. Green's my favorite. So
the green was the first one I made, actually.
that's awesome.
But So yeah, if you have problems with that,
I do. Yeah, absolutely. Do you sell them on TikTok?
I'm sorry.
Do you sell them on TikTok?
I don't because I don't have the TikTok business account because
Okay.
you have to have a business license, and I just haven't gotten done that yet.
Yeah.
But
They're really cool.
yeah, I sell them on Amazon, and I don't think I could sell them anywhere else because they're technically considered a low content book because of the blank pages where you can write in.
Yeah.
I was like, that sucks because that took me forever to make, and I have to publish it as a low content book.
Yeah. Rude.
Right. But yeah, those are linked on my YouTube video also, if anybody wants to go over there and check that out.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were saying something before that, but I don't remember what it was. I think you were talking about all the different books that you're working all on. You work on different ones at a time. How do you keep the plots together when you work on like different ones at the same time?
Well,
You just keep it in your mind and you just know what goes where.
just keep it in my mind, and I also, if I'm going to jump back and forth from one book to another, they have to be completely separate, like, subgenres. So if I'm writing a dark romance, my backup book is going to be like a light, fluffy, small town Hallmark, romance kind of thing. So I think that helps a lot because, my Save the Christmas Tree Farm is not going to get messed up with my stalker killer, So
Yeah.
I think that probably helps a lot. Yeah.
Don't write two stalker books at the same time. Yeah.
Right. Yep. Got to give yourself some separation there. Although I have many times, I will jump into a book, and Stephanie yells at me all the time for doing this because she's the editor, so she edits all of our work. And sometimes I will switch the names. So if I jump into this dark book, I'll start talking like it's the character from like the small town romance, and she'll have to like go in and like find and replace all the names for 3 chapters because I said the wrong name. And then perspective too. I have a hard time if the books are in 2 different perspectives. I've definitely written 10 chapters in the wrong perspective in the wrong book before and had to go back through and change
You
it all.
do like some books in first person and some books in third and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know some people like to just stick to one. Makes it easier, but
That would be a lot easier.
yeah. I normally do, and I know that people hate this, but it's what I like. First person, present tense, and I know a lot of people
Okay.
hate that, but that's what I like. So I was writing one book in that way, but then I was like, you know what? I might as well try past tense because everybody hates present tense, and yeah, it's super difficult to switch from one to the other.
Yeah. Especially when you're used to one, it's tough. Yeah, one of the most interesting things that we did recently was Stephanie just finished a book a couple of months ago in second person perspective. And that was brand new for us.
I don't know if I've ever read a book in second person.
It's very different. It's kind of hard to describe, but do you remember, like, when we were kids and they had all of this, all of the choose your own adventure books? A lot of those are written in second perspective.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, it was a very
Playing
fun project.
you're walking through the dungeon and, and this happens
Yes.
to you. Yeah.
Yes, very close to a D&D game, too. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and that was with our the pop star football player. It was our kind of our catch on Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, but male.
Yeah. Interesting. So how
Yeah.
long normally take you to write a book?
It depends. Our minimum, like I said, is 5,000 words a week. Most romance novels are anywhere between 45 to 70, usually, is a comfortable romance range. Your romanticies obviously are longer. They'll come in usually 90 to 100, kind of standardized. So 5,000 words a week times, 40 words, about 2 months, 2.5 months to write a 50K-er.
I've been working on one for 3 years.
I bet it's going to be awesome. But here, again, the fantasy is there's so much. Like, if I was going to write a fantasy, it would take a crazy amount of time too. Like, it makes sense.
Well, I think a lot of it, I actually went a long time without writing because, like, I got a full-time job and, just life happened. And I think I went a whole year without even touching it. So I don't guess I technically haven't been writing it for 3 years, but I'm on and off.
Yeah. Yeah, Steph and I took a break too. We started writing, we published our first book in 2015 and then published several more shorts and one novel, and then stopped for 7 years. Just kind of like life happened. She's got 3 amazing kids, and my husband and I moved back to Las Vegas, and so it just, it was difficult, and we just kind of weren't doing it. But last year, we kind of got together again and decided to give it a go.
Wow. I'm putting up a graphic of your new book on the YouTube real quick.
Oh, awesome.
So sorry, it looks like I'm ignoring you, but I'm not.
No problem at all.
I had one of your other books that I just found up there. Since you told me which one's your new one. There we go.
Awesome. I'm so nervous about that book.
It sounds not like I like the concept of it.
Yeah, I like it too. I hope that our regular readers and our, the people that are used to our work, don't hate us for omitting the spice. But
I mean, they don't have to read it.
It's true. It's true.
I like books that have spice in it, but it doesn't have to have it in order for me to like the book.
Yeah.
No, there are some people like that. Like, it has to have it in order for them to enjoy the book. Like, I can take it or leave it. Like, it can be there and it can not. It's fine. As long as the book's good.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I like it, especially if it's done well and it's, in its place, and I really like books that, you kind of have to use your imagination too. So, yeah.
It not having spice in it is better than there being spice just for the sake of there being spice in it. Like, it doesn't
agree.
Like, there are some books, it's in there too much. Like there's no reason for it. It's just there just for it to be there.
It's, gluttonous at that point, for sure. Yeah. So you're putting spice in your books, right?
I'm not.
You are not?
No, because I can just imagine a family member of mine being excited that I published a book and wanting to read it, and me not wanting them to read that book.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Yeah, we had some of that too when we first started.
I wouldn't want my 16-year-old to read my book. And she's going to be like, Mom, why?
Are you sure she's not already reading those books?
I'm gonna pretend that she's not, and we're gonna keep it there, okay? Like she doesn't know what any of that stuff is, right?
Sure. Yep.
What do you like to do when you're not writing?
Well, I also I'm in social work. I'm a case manager for at-risk youth, helping them secure careers and go to college, and just trying to give them their best kind of head start. So I do a lot of that, a lot of community kind of health work, and that takes up, big portion of the time. And if free time, probably just, I like to read a lot, obviously, so I like to read when I'm not writing or working or anything else.
You would think that I was a grandma with my questions or with my answers to that. I like to crochet and
That's awesome.
and
I can crochet too.
you like to crochet too?
Yeah, what do you normally make?
Well, at the moment I'm making a doll.
Ooh, cool.
The other day I made an axolotl.
I love axolotls. That's fantastic.
It only ended up being like this big, and I need to get bigger yarn and make it bigger.
Yeah.
But
I can only make blankets or like Afghans. I can't.
I watched a ton of YouTube videos and taught myself how to make stuffed animals, and it's called amigurumi.
That's awesome.
But I used to have a business where I made crafts and sold them. So I would make hair bows and these little things that hang on the wall that it looks like a dress with a tutu, and you clip the hair bows onto it, so it's like a hair bow holder that hangs on the wall for,
Oh, cool.
yeah. So and I made dresses from tulle, and yeah.
That's awesome.
But that was my hobbies before writing, or when I'm not writing.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love crafting. It's so much fun. It's really cool to be able to just kind of anything, books, anything like that, just be able to kind of conceptualize something and then make it, like, create it, make it
I used to
exist.
work at Hobby Lobby, and so
Okay.
I got a discount on my crafts, and
Excellent.
I probably spent more money than I made.
But hey, that discount was well worth it.
Yeah, that was the whole reason I started working there, and then I ended up
Absolutely.
there for 7 years.
That's awesome. Yeah. I would go work at Chipotle if they would hire me, just so I would get free Chipotle.
So, what are you reading right now?
I'm actually reading, a friend of mine is in the middle of writing a book, and gave me the first couple of chapters of it to have a look over. So that is actually what I have been reading. Before that, goodness, I'm not even sure. What are you reading?
I don't know if you saw a video that I posted before, but I said, indie authors, I want to read your book. Send me your book. So I got hundreds of comments on that post, but it was a lot. So I, at the moment, am reading something off of that list, and it is, if my Kindle will tell me the name of this book, and it's just showing me the book. It's not showing me the title. I don't know whose book this is because it doesn't tell me. It's not going to tell me. It's not like, it should pop up with a little thingy, but it's not. There's nothing that happens when I click it. Okay. I don't know what it is. It's about werewolves.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like werewolves.
And then I'm listening to I listen to audiobooks every single day of my life. No matter what I'm, like, if I'm washing dishes or cooking, I have audiobook in because I just can't I can't have silence. So, that is called, Traitor of Villain Academy by Eva Chase.
Okay. I haven't heard of it.
It's really good. Like it's a cool magic system. They do magic. There's two different types. If you are a witch or it's called a joymancer. If you cause joy in someone, that gives you magical power. And then there's fearmancers. So if they cause fear in someone, it gives them magical powers. And then they kind of like clash. The different.
That's awesome.
It's really cool.
It sounds good.
Do you use real life events to inspire your writing, or is it completely just made up off the top of your head?
Both.
Both.
I'll usually start with a real event and then embellish from there. Or definitely, take some inspiration from, it's usually dialogue more than anything with me. Having a conversation with somebody will trigger something, like in my brain, and then I'll start, I don't know if I want to admit this, then I'll start hearing, how the conversation could have, gone differently. And that's usually how most of my stories begin to form, is from a conversational standpoint of two characters having a conversation about something.
That's cool. I like that. I totally get the thinking about it later and how the conversation should have gone. And I do that just with, like, if I'm arguing with somebody an hour later, I'm like, man, I should have said that.
Why didn't I say that? I'm so good in my room, darn it. Like,
I'm so good at those quips an hour later.
Right. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. How about you?
So I usually get.
I bet it's different with fantasy. I mean, how?
It is. Not necessarily though, because I could turn anything into a fantasy.
It's true.
I think I have a hair in my eye. A lot of it is I'll either watch a TV show or be reading a book, and I'll think of how it should have gone. But
okay.
The show went in another way.
Yep.
And I'm like,
yep.
It would have been so much better if they'd have done this. And then that's when I start writing.
I definitely have a little bit of that myself, for sure.
You're like, man, those characters are so stupid. Why did they do that? And then you just come up with your own scenario of if they'd have done that, what would have happened. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And that's what's so nice about being able to, I feel like I'm really lucky to be able to have the ability to, express myself through storytelling, and the written word like that, because it's so good to be able to think through those scenarios and the what ifs and actually be able to kind of make something out of it instead of just like having it all like trapped in my brain.
And that's another reason why I guess I have so many ideas for books, because it just happens over and over. It's like, well, this should happen. Well, this would make a good story. Well, that would be a great story. And I would love to just put those all together and make them into one story, but they don't work well together.
Yeah. Too many plots, not enough time. Uh-huh. Absolutely.
That's like with all the books that you want to read. Like I won't live long enough to read all the books I want to read, even if I never stopped reading.
Yeah, same. I probably wouldn't live long enough to read all of the books that I have in my house that I haven't read, let alone my TBR list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the best feedback you've received from a reader? Like, have you gotten like a glowing review that you remember or that stood out to you?
It's not a glowing review, but I do have one review that has always stuck with me for years and years and years. And it was a negative review, but it was like 3 lines, and they said that basically like my main character was too stupid to live. And for some reason, like, that has stuck with me forever. And it's kind of comical because when you take a look back at the book that was written on, they are absolutely correct. That character is too stupid to live. And so when I'm writing or character developing now, newer books, I always, especially in my like first, 3 or 4 chapters, is my character too stupid to live? And so that's kind of
Turn it into a checklist.
yeah, absolutely. So I think that's definitely the one that sticks out. We're really lucky to have, we've got a lot of really fantastic reviews and glowing recommendations, but I feel like you can find a lot of treasure in the not so great ones.
Well, I was about to ask you, how do you deal with negative reviews, but that's probably, it kind of answered my question.
Well, firstly, I get on Zoom and I complain to Stephanie about them for 30 minutes. And then, once I vent it and we get it all out, then we go from
You
there.
can laugh about it later.
Yeah. Yep, then we can laugh about it later.
Because, like, it doesn't matter what you write. You are never going to please every person, never,
No, you're not.
You're not. So, I don't know. I just, even in life, people are self-conscious about being overweight or whatever. It's like, why do you care what those people think? The people
Absolutely.
that make fun of that, or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
you don't like my book? Okay, I'm sorry.
Right, sorry. Yeah. It's not for you then.
Right?
Yeah.
The next question says, what types of questions do you ask yourself when planning a new book? Do you have like a set way to plan, or
No.
no?
It's I don't really have a set way to plan. It all just kind of starts with 15 scribbled on note pages, because, again, going back to kind of like hearing the dialogue in your head, and trying to get, conversation pieces down. And then once I'm, from there, I'll kind of branch off into, okay, what is this, character? What's their purpose? What's this one's purpose? And just kind of try to throw it all together and sew it up.
That's a great way to put it.
What about you?
Well, I used to just sit and start writing, because somehow I would have the idea for the opening scene of the book, not anything else of the book at all, just an opening scene. Like my first one, I had this idea that there was a place where it's basically a planet of witches. Everyone is a witch. And this one witch was having a baby that is so powerful, it was actually draining her magic from her body, and she died giving birth to her. So I made that the prologue of my book. And then the book actually starts when that baby is older.
Okay.
And that was the only idea that I had. But then I just sat down and I wrote that prologue without any idea of what's going to happen in the rest of the book.
That's awesome. Sometimes it's like that. Yeah.
Now I'm about halfway through that one.
That sounds so good.
Thanks. It's got cool monsters in it. They're basically shadow monsters that when they're in shadows, they can like disappear into the shadow, but when there's light cast on them, they solidify, and their skin is like coal. So like if you're attacking them, they can just escape into the shadows. They're called the Drearin.
That's awesome. When do you think you're going to publish?
Oh, sometime before I die.
Good. Very good.
No, I have time now to sit down and write. So I don't have a job anymore. So now I can just sit down and actually get to writing. So as soon as the spark comes back to sit and write, because it's been a while since I've been able to, I'm going to sit down and try to finish it.
That's awesome. Well, I'm really happy to hear that you have time to write now.
I might give myself a deadline of at least next year before the end of the year.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
I'll try that.
It sounds great.
Yeah, I mean, I've got it halfway done, so it shouldn't take that much longer to finish it, right?
Right. Absolutely. That's what we all tell ourselves.
What I need to do is tell people that I'm going to finish it by that time, and then I'll make myself do it.
Yeah.
Because if I don't tell anybody and I can just finish it whenever, then I might not ever. So I'm telling you, I'm going to finish it next year.
See? Okay. I will hold you to it.
Okay. How much research do you do for your books? So because your world is actually, your books actually take place in the real world, do you actually have to like take into account where they are and like make sure that you get the places correct and stuff like that?
Yes, very much so. So the first novel we ever put out was a young adult novel, and we centered that in Savannah, Georgia. And in doing that, my husband and I spent a lot of time in Savannah, Georgia. And it's a beautiful city, like right along the river.
Like to know because you were gonna write a book, or you already been there?
So I had already been there. We actually stumbled across it like totally by accident. We were traveling from Philadelphia down back home to where we were at in Florida at the time, and it was actually Halloween. It was Halloween day, and I got really sick, and we ended up stopping and getting a hotel just on the side of the road because I was so sick. And the next day, we got up, and I was feeling much better, fortunately, and we went into the city, or the closest city, was about 15 minutes away or so, and that was Savannah, Georgia. And me and my husband both just completely just fell in love with the place. The charm and the history. It's got incredible vibes. It's very kind of, witchy and haunted, and it's got its own little histories, and just absolutely fell in love with the place. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. And so a couple of months later, I made my husband take me back to Savannah, and we just went up there and spent like 4 days in Savannah just to really be able to see the city. And we did a couple of little tours, and it just incredible. And then we kind of started writing the book after that.
So have you ever tried to write a book that takes place in a place that you've never been before?
Yes, I have, and it didn't go well, so I actually turned it into a fictional city.
Gotcha.
And then that is now what I write. Anytime I'm in a city anywhere that's not Las Vegas, we've got a couple books that take place in Las Vegas or in Nevada, like the new one, but it's normally, if I'm going to write about a city, it's a city that I made up called Emberford. It's basically like modeled after like a hybrid of New York and Chicago. But I tried to write a book about Chicago, and it was supposed to be this, really easy, really quick 40K. I needed it done in 6 weeks. Like, we needed like a filler title. And I found myself wasting hours and hours and hours looking at Google Maps and street signs and cross intersections, because I wanted, if I'm going to write about a city, I want the continuity to be there, so that the people that are from Chicago can be like, oh, they know what they're talking about. And it ended up taking so much time. I created the whole new city, and now nobody else has been there in their whole life, and so I can say whatever I want.
Everything is correct because you say so. Exactly.
100%. Yep. So yes, I tried, but I failed spectacularly.
Okay, how do you choose the names for your characters?
A random name generator.
So do you just pick ones that just stand out to you, like, ooh, I like that one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Usually, because we've written so many books at this point in time, and most of them are like male. You know, when you've got 27 romance books that have two guys' names in them, it's hard
So
to.
many names.
Yeah, there's only so many names, so I got to the point where I random name generate them. And I just click and click and click until, oh, Brian. He sounds like a Brian. Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, I use either a combination of a random name generator, and I will usually either change the spelling or take two names and kind of smush them together. Or that's kind
Yeah.
of what I do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
From
What are the names of the main characters in the book your Witch Planet book?
I'm sorry, I was reading that and I didn't hear what you said. What?
Oh, what are the names of your characters in the book that you're working on now about the Witch Planet?
The main character's name is Kadra.
Okay.
And her best friend's name is Savani.
Cool.
And
Those sound nice.
yeah, the Savani's twin brother's name is Kian.
Okay.
And for some reason, I'm drawing a blank on the other names at the moment. It's because you put me on the spot.
Shame on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know why I really, I fell in love with the name Savani and gave it to the side character. I don't know why.
Because you're gonna have to write a book where she's the main character one day.
You know, I've thought about it. I may just have to do that.
Yep.
Actually, that goes in with one of my questions. Do you have, in your current book, because I know you have so many, do you have a favorite secondary character? Do you have like a
Yes.
quirky little character that's just the side, or?
So currently I am writing the third book in my Calusa Springs series. It's my like small town, like Western cowboy kind of series. And my favorite character in all of those books is Granny. She's like an 89-year-old with dementia who's an absolute spitfire and definitely provides like all the comic relief. She has to, in the Calusa series, Granny has to be my favorite for sure.
Yeah, that's cool. Savani in mine is my favorite character because she's super sarcastic. Because the thing about Kadra is because she's like a super powerful witch, she accidentally blows things up all the time with her magic.
Okay.
She doesn't know how to control it. Like she tries to just do small little things. She just ends up blowing things up. So Savani picks on her about it. And
That's awesome.
so her being like sarcastic made her be my favorite side character. What is your schedule like when you're writing? Like, do you have a set time that you sit down to write, or just whenever you get a chance?
It's usually whenever I get a chance, especially if like it's the weekend and it's time to getting close to check in for my 5,000 for the week. It's usually Sunday and Monday is usually my big writing days. There's a coffee shop here locally that I go to all the time and write at. So usually Sunday and Monday are usually my big writing days. And then Fridays and Saturdays, I'm usually like doing promo stuff. I'm filming content or shipping out orders. We just went on tour starting this year, and it'll go kind of like all throughout the Western United States next year. So that's been a big times suck, trying to plan and prepare and, get ready for that. So it's usually Sunday and Monday is usually my big writing days. How about you?
So what it's supposed to be now that I don't have a job and now that I can sit down and do it is I'm gonna do like TikTok and YouTube and writing all Monday through Friday. Like that's gonna be my job. So I'll set out time where I'm at work
Yeah,
during those times, and how I allocate that time, whether I'm filming a TikTok or writing is up to me, I guess, because I need
absolutely.
to sit down and actually do it. I I got way more responses to the author interview video that I did than I thought I would, and I may have overbooked myself with these. So
Going to be doing these for a while, are you?
yeah, I think I'm booked for the next month or so. So after that, then I'll sit down and start writing more.
That's awesome.
Well,
That's really cool that you got that response.
Most of them are pretty late because my time zone is way different than all
Yeah.
you guys over there.
How long have you been in Portugal? Are you from there?
I live in Europe.
How long have you been there?
A year and a half.
Yeah?
Yeah. My husband's grandparents weren't doing too well, so we moved over here and moved in with them to help take care of them.
Okay. Yeah.
It's been an adjustment.
I bet. Yeah, I bet it has.
Yeah, so most of those lives are set fairly late. It's 8 p.m. for me now. So during the day I can do some writing. I need to do a balance between trying to do videos because I want to have an audience for when I publish my book.
Yeah.
I'm actually sitting down and writing.
Yeah, Stephanie and I struggle with the same thing. Especially like with our, release schedule and releasing as many books as we do. Now I do not believe that we are going to do this again next year with the release a month. I don't know what we were thinking when we decided we were going to do. It is insane. It is not. It's been insane. And so we're gonna, try to take a little bit of a step back, next year, and probably won't put out as many titles as we put out this year, but focus more on, the tour is going to be a big piece of it, but yeah, it's exhausting
So
when you're trying to balance writing and, everything else. And
you self-publish, right? You're not traditionally published. So how did you you just call places and ask if you can do like book signings there? Is that how you set up your tour? Like how did you do that yourself?
Yep, that's how, definitely in the beginning, that's how we did it. We also, because of the LGBTQ content in our books, it's also really easy to slide into a Pride Festival, and do signings there. So we do a lot of Pride Festival signings, and some smaller events at bookstores, and there's a couple of like little book conventions too that we'll be at that are, come through Las Vegas next year. So it's just kind of like, it's a combination of, picking up the phone and being like, hi, I would love to come do an event with you. And trying to just find other events and conventions that you can like latch onto. So you're not like taking on all the expense of putting on a humongous event, but you're able to kind of just slip in there and do your thing too.
Yeah. But what do you think is the best thing about being an author?
I think the best thing about being an author is being able to create the exact world that you would like to live in. And the exact situations and the exact... I think that's the best part of it, is, if you can think it, you can do it. You can create it. And I think that's my favorite part of writing for me.
So my answer to that would be I get to stare at a computer screen and vividly hallucinate.
Yep, absolutely. That too.
That's my job.
Yep. I never thought about it like that, but yeah, literally. Yep.
What do you
That's
think is
awesome.
the hardest thing about being an author?
Having to make the beginning connect to the end. Your
Yes.
continuity
Yes.
is the hardest part, I think.
I've always thought that would be the hardest thing about writing a series.
Yeah.
Like, do you plan the entire series first before you start writing the first book so that everything is connected? Or, because otherwise I don't see how you would do it. And then that would just...
So, what's really funny is that we do not plan our series at all. Most of the series that we have were never supposed to be series. They were only supposed to be one-off books, and then all of our fans went crazy and were like, "We need a second book. We need a second book." So then we literally had to like come up with something else. Like with Those Who Favor Fire, we put Those Who Favor Fire out last May, and that was a standalone. Like it was what it was. I had no intention of doing a sequel to it. That's how the story ended in my brain. Mm-hmm. And we put it out, and all of our fans just went crazy, and everybody assumed that it was a part one. Like all of the reviews are like, "Oh, can't wait for part two," and like all this stuff, and I'm like, there is no part two. Like that's how the story ends, guys. Like they're not all happily ever after, kind of thing. And we just got absolutely flamed to the point where I'm writing another one.
You're currently writing? Okay.
I've started plotting. Yep. That'll come out next May.
You got to give the people what they want.
I guess so. So no, we don't plan our series out at all. In fact, most of the time they just turn into series, and we never meant them to be.
Yeah. Well, okay. But if you mean it to be, like some people, they plot out like, one of my favorite books, and okay, my favorite book, I actually have a tattoo from this book, is actually almost 20 books is how much this series is.
Okay.
I think there's 18 at the moment.
Goodness.
And they all tie in together so nice. And like, there's things that happened in the first book that is like foreshadowing for something that happened in the last book. And it's like, you had to have planned that ahead of time.
Probably.
Like, holy crap, that is a lot of planning.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But that's, if you're curious, it's called Dead Witch Walking by Kim Harrison.
I am interested. Thank you.
I have it on Audible, and I think I listen to that entire series at least once a year.
Really?
For the past.
That's how I am with the Hitman Guide on Audible. I like go through the whole series usually once a year.
Yeah.
All of our books are on Audible as well.
Oh, really?
Yep. We've been really lucky to work with a lot of like really fantastic narrators and producers.
I was going to ask if you narrated.
No,
'Cause you said you
no,
do
I do
everything.
not. Nope. That is the only thing we outsource. We do hire professional producers.
That's one thing that I would really love to do. If I got
Narrate?
and stuff, is to narrate. Yeah. At the moment, my office is the basement, so I don't know if you can tell how echoey it is in here.
Yeah.
So it's it's because this is a really big, wide open basement, and the houses here are made of concrete. So,
Okay.
so yeah, this wall.
Lots of reverb. Yeah.
So I'm going to be moving my whole setup into an actual bedroom with smaller walls. So cut down on the echo, and then I would love to try.
Yeah, that would be great. I imagine like it could be a very soothing thing to do.
I actually, before we moved here, I actually had auditioned for some audiobook stuff. So I figured out like how to do it. I researched ACX and all of
Yeah.
that. So it was fun to do the auditions. I didn't get any of them, but
But
you
that's cool.
used to read The Lord of the Rings every year. Oh my gosh, that would take forever, wouldn't it?
Yes.
The Lord of the Rings
Those
is
are
so
big
long.
books.
Those are thick boys.
Yeah.
So my next question was, what might your next book be about? But you kind of already said that you're planning that one.
Yep. Our next release is actually a follow-up. It's a little holiday short called The Christmas Session. It's a follow-up to one of the shorts we put out a couple months ago called The Session. So that'll come out this month. I guess it's November now, huh? That'll come out this month, and then our next full release, I believe, is January. And January or February is going to be a Pemberley book. So we'll get another Sapphic novel out.
Okay.
And then the book I'm writing now, the third Calusa, will be out in March of next year.
I'm gonna have to follow you on Amazon so I can keep track of all your books that you can. You're gonna have to send me all of your pen names and everything, so because you said
I will.
free.
Yeah, I definitely will.
So Ember Larkin is one. Which one was that?
That is the straight romance, and then Katie B. Pemberley is Sapphic. Our young adult is Chance Knight, Stephanie Man, and then Chance Christopher and Bella Liddell for our male.
That's 4?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a lot to
4.
keep track of.
It is.
Okay, question. How many drafts do you usually put it through before you decide that it's done? You know, well, you said
Two.
that Stephanie helps edit, so I guess technically when you're doing that back and forth, that's almost like doing 2 drafts at once.
Yep, it is. It's very much we're editing as we go. And when we're writing as frequently and as much as we are, you get to the point where you don't make a whole lot of mistakes. When you're just like beast moding it. So she goes back through behind me and she'll find stuff, and I'm going back through behind her and she'll find stuff. And then once I'm done writing it, let's say, she will then take it and edit it from start to finish. And then I'll take it back and my husband will read it and my sister will read it, and a lot of times I'll reread it, and then once we think we're good to go, we're good to go. And I give it back to Stephanie. Stephanie handles all the formatting and our copyright information, our author pages, bio pages, all of that. And then we publish.
It's a very efficient system.
Yes. We've spent this year getting that system down, for sure.
Yeah, well, you would need to with how many books you write.
Yes. Yep, it's a lot.
So that's pretty much all of the questions that I had written out to ask you.
Okay.
Unless you have anything that you want to ask me.
What made you decide that you wanted to start creating book content? Is it just for your lead up for your album, or for your book, or
Well, that and spending time on Book Talk is just, people seem to have fun, you know?
yeah, it is. It does look like a
fun
lot
to
of
get on
fun.
and just talk about the things that you like,
Yeah,
you know? And I like books. I listen to an audiobook every single day of my life. I read books every time I can sit down and actually physically read something, which isn't that often. That's why listen to audio.
yeah,
But and then giving people your opinion on a book, even though I think a lot of books that I read, a lot of people don't. But 'cause I read, it makes me feel old to say older books that are technically old, early 2000s, but those are older books now. And
yeah.
I don't read a whole lot of the trending books.
Same.
Because I like the simple romance fantasy, and
Okay.
it's hard to find a whole lot of that. So I just figured, I'll start making content talking about those type of books and see if I can find people that like those. I haven't found very many, but
You will.
yeah. But yeah, that was it. And of course, the idea is also to gain an audience for a book that I might publish one day.
You're gonna do it. You'll publish
will.
it.
I mean, I have technically sort of published a book, right?
See, there you go. Absolutely. You absolutely have.
I've sold a whole 16 copies of it.
That's awesome. That's great.
But yeah, and it helped me get over a fear of talking to people, being an
Yeah.
introvert. Do you have
Absolutely.
introvert tendencies? It doesn't seem like you do, but
I sure do. Yeah. It's most of the time I don't want to. Yes, most of the time I don't want to talk to anybody. And that's kind of one of the things that I liked about being a writer for so long. Because for a long time, Stephanie and I didn't really. We wrote under Chance and Bella, but I wasn't like the writer. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't the kind of, not the persona, but it was just kind of in the corner. Like we weren't really doing anything with it. And now that, we've over the last year decided that we're, really going to give it a go and try to make it, be a thing. There's been a lot of media, a lot of, especially like in my town, I'm never expecting somebody to ask me to sign an autograph for them when I'm picking up, my allergy medication at the pharmacy, but that's like a thing that happens now all the time, so it's difficult because most of the time I still want to just be my like introverted, okay, I'm just going to go here, I'm going to get this done, and I'm going to go home. And now it's like there's people that recognize me and want to talk to me and want to ask me about my next event or signing or gush about the book that they just read. And it's hard sometimes.
because another thing is like being an author, you are typically sitting at a desk in a room all by yourself.
Yeah.
And then all of
It's
a
a
sudden,
lonely activity.
as soon as it's published, you need to act like a celebrity all of a sudden.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is crazy.
I think that is all I had.
Well, thank you so much for having me on here and having an awesome conversation with me. And maybe we'll get to do it again.
Yeah, no, I definitely. I'm trying to get some people to do more group chats with authors, like 3 or 4
Cool.
of us on there, because
Yeah.
we can all talk a little bit more. One-on-one conversations is perfectly fine. It's just you run out of things to say after a little while.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, keep me posted on those. That'd be awesome.
Okay. Well, I guess I will talk to you later. I'm gonna get off of here. I actually need to go eat. It's almost 9 o'clock.
Yes, go eat and relax. Thank you so much for having me.
Bye.